Hello, Wanderers. Allow me to introduce you to Corlys Seaspray, son of Monford Velaryon, a kingmaker twice over, a champion jouster, and a warrior and leader of great renown, who restored House Velaryon to a place and to heights that it has not seen in many decades. Now, Corlys has big shoes to fill, but I have no doubt that he will be able to fill those shoes quite well. And so let us take a look at our main character here. So Corlys Seaspray, named that because of his avid love of the sea. He's been sailing from a young age. You couldn't keep him out of the water and off of the deck of a ship. And so he is already at 11 years of age an accomplished sailor. Not only that, but he is a very skilled swordsman. He has been training for some time under a Braavosi swordsman, and so he is well suited to taking after his father's great prowess. And he is a character who it comes from great lineages, not only the great Velaryon lineage, but also through the Tyrell lineage from his mother, Lady Paramount Marjorie the Summer Rose. And so let's take a look at his stats here, or his traits to start. Our first trait is brave, which is something we have inherited from our fathers. So we're definitely not afraid. And I think the bravery plays especially into our love of the sea. You know, I'm imagining even when we're like 10 years old or 9 years old, like going and taking one of the small ships that we would have found in Driftmark or the Spiceport or something like that, and sailing off when we're not supposed to, probably putting ourselves into undue danger at such an age. But you know, we couldn't really be stopped, and part of that probably comes from the fact that we are a little bit arbitrary as well. So we don't really think about things like what we're supposed to do as a young lordling. We were certainly probably quite a bit of trouble for the people at Driftmark, and considering our father, Lord Monford, was the hand of the Queen of Daenerys Stormborn, you know, we probably were not, you know, I wouldn't say neglected. Certainly our mother would have taken good care of us, but our father was quite busy, and so, you know, I can't imagine that we knew our father well. We'll just take a brief look at our father here. You guys remember Monford the Sea Pearl here. If you don't, go back and check out the very first season of this series, because that was quite an awesome one as well. This character had some great adventures and some great stories, but alas, he perished from wounds taken during the tournament in King's Landing, and we will get to some of that in just a moment. But let's finish taking a look at our character. We are an aspiring blade master. We got that trait from an event during Monford's time when he hired the Braavosi swordsman Estain to essentially train us in the ways of swordsmanship. We are extremely handsome, you know, even for a young man. We're obviously going to grow up to be a great charmer. And we are also a knight, and our knightly training has been going pretty well. And there was some questions of who we were going to serve under as a knight, and there were some great options, but let's take a look at some of our character relationships. So namely, our mother, Lady Marjorie the Summer Rose. She is the Lady Paramount of the Reach, of course. And, you know, she's pretty a much more tame version of Marjorie than we know from the books or the show. She's, you know, content, humble, chaste, but stubborn. So, you know, maybe that still fits with the Marjorie we know. Obviously, some of the rest of these traits, beautiful and quick and all that kind of stuff. So our mother has been raising us. I mean, we're 11 years old. We're probably, let's face it, Corlys is probably a little bit of a mama's boy. And that's going to play into some things here when we take into account our other relationships. So let's just take a look at things here. Now, for the last year and a half since Monford's death, almost 2 years, we have been living in the Reach. We've been living here in Highgarden, and that's essentially because our mother wanted us close at hand after our father's death so that she could, raise us and ensure a good future for us. And not only that, but potentially prepare us for becoming the Lord of the Reach. Indeed, although we are also the Lord of the Narrow Sea, holding the islands of Tarth and Estermont and some of the stepstones, in addition to, of course, Driftmark and the Hook here. We are also set to inherit the Reach, which is a lot of power for a young man, and there's probably quite a few Reach Lords who are pretty iffy on a Velaryon taking over, including some of the Tyrells themselves. And that's probably why our mother has brought us to the Reach, even though there would be some danger in bringing us here. It's also a smart play in some ways because we could have an opportunity to win over some of these lords, and I'll explain how we're going to be doing that in just a little bit as well. We got a lot to get through in these beginnings of these series, so just hold tight. We're going to get to some gameplay and stuff eventually, but we've got a lot of setup to do, and hopefully you'll find all of this quite interesting. So we've been in the Reach for about 1.5 years. So during that time, we have been squiring under our uncle, Sir Russell Tyrell. Now, there were some options of various characters that we could have squired under. Some people were saying we could squire under Jon Snow. Obviously, we couldn't because he was not a knight. Some people were suggesting the Dark Star of House Dane down here. Potentially could have been the knight that we squired under. That would have been interesting as well. And then some people were saying Lord Quinton of Banefort, who was actually the one who was responsible for our father's death during the joust. He was the one who gave our father the wound that ended up becoming infected and becoming fatal. And those were all good options. I just didn't really see our mother sending us to Banefort, which is that's as far away from everything. As far away from her influence as she could have. That would just be such a risky play. And with the Ironborn there as well, I can't see a content and humble, Marjorie and a stubborn Marjorie sending her only son up to the Westerlands, especially considering this political situation of things. I just don't see that happening. So instead, we have been squired under our uncle, Sir Russell Tyrell, and he's a decent man. Nothing particularly special here. Ambitious, diligent, stubborn, but he's a knight, and he is, and more importantly, the husband of our half sister and regent, Lady Emma. And so, this seemed like it made the most sense because our regent obviously has a lot of influence. And so getting us to squire under her husband gives her a lot of influence, a lot of power. And it also is good for Marjorie, our mother as well, because now she has one of her brothers, being our knight, training us. So kind of easing us into a House Tyrell here and just doing what she can to prevent conflict with House Tyrell and her only son and heir. So that's who our knight is, Sir Russell of the Reach. Now, our guardian, the one who is training, raising us, teaching us, I should say, our mentor here, is Malik Webb. This is obviously the son of a very interesting figure, Lord Malric. Lord Malric was a former slave and a dragon dreamer who had great influence over our father, Lord Monford. Some say Lord Malric had a hand in a lot of events in the realm, and not necessarily always to the realm's advantage. He was the one who saw us become Kingmaker twice over when we were playing as Lord Monford. So we're being raised by his son, who it seems after the death of his father has also taken to dragon dreaming. So very curious to see what kind of influence Malik will have as well over us and over the campaign. So those are the two men who are most responsible for teaching us. We also have one more important mentor, and that is Captain Evitho of Blood Point. Now, this was one of our father's most trusted commanders. He has been in the Stepstones for a very long time, fighting pirates and just being a damn nuisance to the pirate king Salladhor Sanier. Evitho has been key in our efforts down there, alongside our young cousin here, Captain Lucerys, or Lord Lucerys, more likely here. And we've developed a friendship with Evitho, and so I'm sure that he will do his best to ensure that the son of his, friend and lord will be raised right and will, hopefully survive to become a good lord in his own right. So that's Evitho there. So some of our important mentors and teachers there. We have a friendship with our sister, Lady Isabella here. And we'll take a look at some of our family as, things go. But some very important characters here that will probably play a role later on in this series. One of them is Sir Mathos Tyrell. This is the eldest son of Lord Willis. And so if there's anybody to be said to hold a good claim to the Reach, or rather than us, it's going to be Sir Mathos. The interesting thing is he is content, he is craven, but sadistic and greedy. So, maybe he doesn't necessarily want to become a king of the Reach or Lord Paramount of the Reach. But I don't think he wants us to be the Lord Paramount of the Reach, just from his greed, his sadism. He is a bully, so the year and a half that we've been in Highgarden, Sir Mathos Tyrell has made our life a living hell as much as he possibly can. So we'll see how that plays into things. We have another character here, and that is Lord Eddard of Dragonstone. And I'm going to have to go into a little bit more detail of the general situation of the realms here, because that's going to play into things pretty deeply here, because you can see that Jon Snow is dead, slain by King Roderick, the Black Kraken of the Iron Islands. So what has happened in that year since Lord Montford's death? Well, in the grand tournament of King's Landing, in which Lord Montford was wounded and then died of his wounds, during that as well, or, just prior to it, Daenerys Targaryen, Queen of the Seven Kingdoms, gave birth to a daughter, but a horribly disfigured, monstrous daughter. And so the omens were incredibly ill over that tournament. And what seemed to be potentially a strong reign for Daenerys, being married to Jon Snow, who had, ties with the North, and Daenerys, with her dragons and all of that, has certainly taken some blows. And so after that tournament, King Roderick of House Greyjoy went back to the Iron Islands, and he rose up in rebellion, thinking that this was an opportunity against a weakened Daenerys. And so what did Daenerys do? Well, she sent Jon Snow aboard his dragon Rhaegal and a large portion of the fleet of the Seven Kingdoms, including the Velaryon fleet as well, sailing to the Iron Islands to do battle with House Greyjoy and the Iron Islanders who are rising up. Unfortunately, during that battle, Jon Snow and his dragon Rhaegal were slain by a ballista from the boat of King Roderick, and Rhaegal was hit by the ballista bolt, went down into the sea, and Jon Snow was slain. So, unfortunately, yes, Jon Snow is dead. Well, what happened to House Greyjoy in the wake of that? Well, you can imagine that Daenerys was furious with these events, and so she went on her own dragon, Drogon, to essentially wreak revenge, and she certainly did. As you take a look here, you can see that she laid waste to essentially all of House Greyjoy. She flew to Pike and burned Pike down with all its inhabitants inside, really in revenge for the slaying not only of her husband and lover, but also her dragon as well, Rhaegal. And so, yeah, House Greyjoy, the only survivor, or one of the only survivors from the burning of Pike, was Lord Theon here, and so he survives as nothing more than the shell of a man, horribly disfigured and maimed from burns that he sustained during that. All of his children slain, most of his family slain. One of the few who survived was his brother, Lord Meryn here. And so with that, the Iron Islands were essentially crushed. After that, Daenerys burned their fleet and put the rebellion down. House Greyjoy obviously stripped of its position here. Pike is just basically a rune, essentially. And so Daenerys has reluctantly put Lord Steffar Goodbrother as the new Lord Paramount. And that's because he's actually a reasonably decent man, compassionate, trusting, and generous, but ambitious as well. Certainly not a threat like the Greyjoys were, though. And so that is probably the biggest and most important event that happened in between the previous season with Monford and this season. So Jon Snow and Rhaegal are dead. Viserion, Daenerys' third dragon, was dead sometime previously, slain during the Battle of Mummer's Ford by forces from the Westerlands. And Tyrion Lannister. You guys can go and check out that previous season if you haven't seen it already. But that's the basic setup. So after those events, Daenerys has become a more vengeful and a more wrathful person, and I think that's understandable. She did love Jon, and yeah, the consequences of the Greyjoy rebellion certainly have reverberated throughout the realm, and it's going to be very interesting to see Daenerys' position now with the death of her husband and of her young daughter here. It seems as though, who's to say whether Daenerys will take another husband and if she's even capable of having any more children. And so with that question up in the air, she has actually taken to name Lord Eddard, the son of Jon Snow and Lady Daenerys of House Velaryon, as her heir, as he is a Targaryen blood and the next in line. And so that brings us back to Lord Eddard here. Although we have grown up with him, I wouldn't say we are friends. In fact, he is something of a bully towards us. We've got, quite a bit of a difference here. He was raised in the North for some time. And so, there's a difference of culture, a difference of religion. And, I'm imagining that, in this kind of, the relationship that we had with him, probably, call it like, I'm imagining that, somebody as, essentially, yeah, like I said, we're kind of a pretty boy, a mama's boy in some ways. We are brave and we have an adventurous spirit, but we're not necessarily, I wouldn't say we're tough or anything like that. We're adventurous, certainly. But I imagine that, Lord Eddard here has kind of had a bone to pick with us. And so I'm sure we were eager to get away from him there during that time. The rest of the State of the Realms is mostly unchanged from the previous season. Lord Castus Masterly still rules the Westerlands. This is the leader of the Golden Company. He has certainly done his best to keep the Westerlands under his control. He now has 2 children, which he could potentially marry off. to ladies, lords and ladies in the Westerland in order to gain himself some security here. But so far, he's managed to hold it. We've still got House Tully in the Riverlands, of course. Peter Baelish is still the regent of the Vale. We'll see if he manages to keep that position. House Penrose there in the Stormlands. Lady Saria the Gracious still rules Dorne. And then probably one of the more important characters that we're going to take a look at here is Robb Stark. Now, Robb Stark is still angry with Daenerys due to the fact that his father was sent to the Wall. Actually, let's see if we can take a look here. Yes, Lord Eddard has been sent to the Wall, and that was, like I said, after the events of the war of Daenerys' conquest. There was a lot going on with that, so yeah, Robb was not pleased with that, and he currently leads a Liberty faction against Daenerys, which could potentially fire off anytime. So we might have a war relatively soon. There's not that many lords that are backing Robb right now. I think they're mostly still afraid of Daenerys, especially in the wake of the Greyjoy rebellion. But, you know, Robb's got a big army. The North is not happy with Daenerys. And now that Jon is dead, he doesn't really have anything to kind of hold him back in that regard. So we'll see if Jon or Robb pulls the trigger and leads that rebellion. So there you go. That's the state of the realm. There's lots of other things to talk about, and I will get to those. But we're not gonna, you know, keep you waiting too much longer. Let's get to our current situation. And our current situation is that we have been in the Highgarden for quite some time, and now we are going on a bit of a journey. We are going to be returning to Driftmark to essentially check on the state of our lands and to be seen there by the Lords of the Narrow Sea. But on the way there, we are here in Oldtown visiting Lady Sherris here in order to essentially, this is our mother playing matchmaker with us. So we're here at a meeting of our peers. Many lords and ladies of the Westerlands and stuff are here to visit. And so we are going to, like I said, we're essentially looking for matches here because our mother wants to essentially, you know, solidify our position in the Reach. There are lots of people who are loyal, you know, to House Tyrell, but we have Tyrell blood, and if we can get a powerful marriage alliance here in the Reach, then that will secure us to be potentially become the Lord Paramount here. So we can take a look at some of the ladies here that could be potential marriage matches for us. So you can see here potentially Elisa Rowan, and I want you guys to keep track of these because I want to hear your comments on who you think our mother should set us up with. I suppose first off, we should take a look at Lady Sherris, and I think we've already developed something of an infatuation with Lady Sherris here. We're of the same age. She is a powerful, you know, she comes from a powerful family. You know, she has a crush on us. Obviously, we're, you know, a handsome kid and stuff, a knight, we're brave, we come from a storied family. And I think we've got a little bit of a crush on her as well. So there is the potential of setting up a match here. Now, obviously, the AI would never accept a non-matrilineal match because she is a lady of her own right. But we could, if there was enough support from those of you in the comments, my good counselors, we could probably make that happen either way. But even if it doesn't, perhaps there will be a forbidden love blossoming if we both end up marrying different people. So Lady Sherris is an option. I would say it's up to you to decide if you think that would make sense. Let's take a look at some of the others. Elisa Rowan here, potentially an option too, but she is also the heir to the High Lordship of Golden Grove. So the AI wouldn't necessarily accept it. But once again, we can kind of make things happen if you guys think that this makes the most sense. So there's a potential option. Josella Willem. Her father is relatively powerful. Lord Joshua the Lecher of House Willem. Probably not the best reputation there. We've got Willow Florent, and potentially her older sister, Jane Florent. So we could potentially get a marriage with somebody from House Florent here. Obviously, another powerful house. We've got Galisa Virwell here, another potential option. Miranda Sawyer, Rosalie Hunt. Let's see. Let's just take a look at some of the more important ones. The more likely options: Lucinda Roxton, Possessed. So that's an interesting one. And then let's see. So we've got some Roxtons. House Fosaway here. Armoria Fosway. I think she has an older sister as well. Zoe Fosway. Certainly a potential option as well. And then Beanie Caswell. So if you need to go and take a look, we will be considering all of these various options. There is another potential option for a betrothal for us, and that is to our cousin, who is Daenarys Velaryon. So I think that this would also be a potential betrothal option as well, keeping it in the family, so to speak. So I want to hear your comments on who you think we should marry, and I want to hear it from the perspective of Lady Marjorie. Who would she be getting us to marry? You know, like, what would she be arranging? She has a lot of power. She's the Lady Paramount of the Reach. You know, her son is set to inherit the Reach and the Narrow Sea. Incredibly powerful. She has a lot of sway. She can probably get a lot of stuff done. I think there's a lady here in the Arbor potentially as well, Eleanor Redwine. So let me know who you think that we should end up betrothed to, and I will try to see it done. But let's finally start time here and see what kind of events pop up during this meeting of the peers, because this may give you a little bit of extra information here. So yeah, let's take a look at things here. Everyone is gathered in the Great Hall as Lady Sheris welcomes all to the peer meet. I've never actually really seen these events. We're never playing as these young characters, so I'm curious to see if we'll have any like fun or interesting events here. Can always keep an eye on the activity log, I suppose. Oh, what's happening here? I thought Jane, the daughter of Lady Marissa of Brightwater, and the peasant boy were merely pretending to fight. But suddenly there is blood in the dirt. Jane hits the ground with a grunt, and the peasant standing above her moves to attack again. Oh, this rough young lad is pushing around Jane Florent. Oh dear. Looks like we're gonna have to be the gallant one here. I will save her. Someone please help. Looks like fun. Let me have a go. No, I mean, our father was a gallant man. We're brave. And I think that, you know, with the tales of our father as like a gallant knight, we're going to rush in there and we're going to go and try to save her. We're going to take some stress, but she will become our friend. So there we go. While still children, you saved Jane Florent from being beaten by a group of rowdy youth. So there we go. Young Lord Corlys Seaspray is already proving himself to be something of a bit of a hero. Ormond, the son and heir of Lord Theo of Strong Spirits, approaches me with a heap of fabric in his arms. As he dumps it on the floor in front of me, I realize that it's a heap of clothing for adults. Let's play house together, he says. Only if we are the parents. No, that's silly. Let's play chess, we say. I mean, we are a pensive character. Singular focus. This character is focused on learning at the expense of all else. We're arbitrary. I mean, we're 11 years old, so, you know, we might just enjoy playing playing a game of House, of course. Who is this man? Ormond Sawyer? He's pensive as well. You know, he's a squire. It's entirely possible that we might potentially, yeah, we might get along with this kid. Let's see if we can get another friend here. So we're gonna play some games with him. Yeah, let's see. I don't think we're like necessarily strategist type. We are, you know, we're curious and like stuff like that, but I don't think that we are necessarily like all about strategy and things like that. Ooh, seems like some sicknesses are spreading over here as well. We'll have to be careful about that, but we don't have to worry about it just yet. The life and duties of a squire. Russell and I spend all day training from sunrise to sundown. He puts me through all sorts of drills. He tested my swordsmanship, my agility, my stamina, and my reflexes. I have never been more exhausted in my life. As we're packing up, Russell spins me around and gives me a clout in the ear. He tells me that my form as a warrior was sloppy, and I need to try harder during our training if I want to be a knight one day. Tell him you'll wake up tomorrow and practice hard, or we could criticize his teaching skills. Let's see. We are arbitrary, so I'm gonna just kind of like close my eyes here. My eyes are closed, and we're gonna pick this one. So criticizing his teaching skills here. That's what we're gonna do. Like I said, the fun thing about playing an arbitrary character is we can probably just kind of like play things a little bit randomly sometimes here. Not randomly, but you know, we can take some unlikely choices. We are exploring the local sept when Miranda, the daughter of Lord Theo of Strong Spirits, and I stumble across my septon Matthew, surrounded by scrolls. They are journals from long ago. Are you interested in such things? No, I'm interested in you telling us of adventure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're picking that option. We are an adventurous sort of lad. Oh, wow. Ladies say Sheris found a gold stack. 75 coins. Damn. Galissa was obviously wounded sometime during that. Jamie, the Castellan of my crush, Lady Sheris, is obviously hiding something. But just as he agrees to tell me what it is, my crush, Lady Sheris, approaches and insists that I join her for a game of chess. Sure, I don't... Ooh. Well, we're obviously going to go play chess with our crush. Like, come on. You're not turning that down at, you know, at 11 years old. I think that's, that we would be very flattered, I would imagine. Oh, just 10 more days. Oh, there's... Oh, okay. Looks like people are leaving, unless, like, they're dying. A ball bounces past me, scooped back into the waiting arms of Galissa. Do you want to join? We've got a ball, and we could do with some more players. The small crowd of kids gathers expectantly around us. I'll join. You know, our traits are saying, you know, we are pensive, so, but we're brave. Yeah, it's kind of tricky. You know, we're kind of an athletic character. So let's see. I don't really feel like it. But yeah, you know what? We are athletic, but we're also arbitrary and pensive. So I'm going to say I don't really feel like it. I don't feel like playing kickball today. What fun we had. I will remember the days spent at Lady Sheris's for a long time to come. Now I'm told that it's time to pack up and return home for my duties, but hopefully we can do this again soon. Goodbye, Lady Sheris. Finish meeting appears. There we go. So, and there we go. And so now as we are set to return home, rather than taking the overland route back through Highgarden and then up to King's Landing and to Driftmark, we are actually going to be going by sea. Lord Evitho has come with his ship. He's, you know, sailed here to Oldtown. He's come to pick us up and to take us back home to Driftmark, and so we're going on a bit of a journey, but I think that we have convinced Evitho not quite to take us straight home. Indeed, we've asked him if we can go a little bit further afield. So not only are we going to be sailing here and visiting the Arbor, but we're going to be visiting quite a few more places on our journey. We're going to stop here in Sunspear and visit Princess Saria of Dorne. We're going to sail and we're going to visit the city of Lys as well and explore the wonders that that great city has to offer. We're going to sail up past the Stepstones, which are hopefully, that could be a little bit dangerous with the pirates. But, I mean, we do still control some of the islands here. And Evitho is well-versed here. So hopefully he'll be able to keep us safe. But who knows? Salador Sand could be a danger as we go past. We're not stopping in Tyrosh or Myr because of the troubles that House Velaryon has had with Tyrosh in the past. But we are going to be sailing to Pentos. We're going to be going and visiting Tyrion Lannister here, a great friend of our father. He has invited us to come and visit him. And during that time, we're also going to visit the great city of Pentos before returning home. So it's going to be a long journey. A lot of adventure to be had, but young Lord Corlys Seaspray is certainly willing to have some adventure. Lord John flagellated himself to death. Well, great job, John Massey. You are our Castellan, and now we got to replace you. There's a few options here. I'm probably gonna go with. Ooh, there's some decent options, but No, we got to go with Lord Jonlin of Sharppoint. He's actually a pretty good character, cowardly and content, but he's got some good traits, so he seems like a pretty stable man, I would say. So here we go. We're gonna sail and visit the Arbor here. Just a quick little stop on our journey. My guardian Malik spoke to me about the capital sentence that a lowly thief had been given 2 days ago. He wanted to know what I thought of such a harsh penalty for such a small crime. This is not the law of a godly realm. We gain the trait cynical. That's an interesting one. We should all be satisfied with what we already have. Temperate. Ooh, okay. Temperate would be good for the health boost. Let's see. Cynical, intrigue and learning. Could be okay. Temperate would certainly help us with the with getting our stewardship up. But I think, I'm gonna go with the more arbitrary answer here. The smart thing to do would be to take temperate, but I'm gonna pick cynical because I think that's gonna make for a slightly more interesting character. Brave, arbitrary, and cynical. I feel like this is gonna allow us to kind of do not whatever we want with Lord Corlys, but I feel like he's not gonna be bound by rules and things like that, rules and religion and all that kind of thing. Ooh, there's a dangerous faction here. Liberty faction is rising up. Well, that could be trouble. We might need to deal with that at some point here. The Palace of Sunspear has been the seat of House Nymeros Martell since Prince Nymeria of the Rhoynar married Lord Mors and united Dorne under their rule. We gain some intrigue. We visit Lady Saria. We probably meet her children, spend some time with them and, meet House Martell. And then we sail onwards here. So making our way to Lys. As I look upon a young launderer walking by, sweaty with labor but a blush on her cheek, I am entranced. What is this feeling? What is this feeling? This longing. Girls are so fascinating. I know she's only commoner, but oh my heart, we get a crush on Daenerys. I mean, maybe we do. I mean, we already have a crush, but I have a feeling that Corlys is somebody who maybe gets crushes easily. We might end up being. We're not lustful, but I have a feeling we might be a little bit of a troublemaker when it comes to that. So I'm gonna select that option there. So we have another crush, I guess. Yeah, we have two crushes. One on a common girl, so I don't think our mother's gonna be too happy about that. But here, so we're like on this long and interesting adventure at, the young age of just 11 years old. I mean, did we tell our mother about it? Probably not. I imagine that we convinced Evitho, and like, we are his lord, so he can't say no. Marjorie might not be happy about it, our mother, but you know what? We are from House Velaryon. We go on these great adventures. Corlys went on these adventures. Monford went on an adventure when he was young as well to Essos, and so yeah, we're like living our life. We're seeing the world, sailing on the seas like a Velaryon should. I look around the city in awe as the merchants and hawkers lining the street and tending their stalls begin to recognize who I am. I see a murmur ripple and swell through the throng as masters bark at servants to shower me in meaningless trinkets and curios, all the while regaling me with their import. Oh, how I love the market. What shall it be? Should I visit the alchemist? Oh, look at the craftsman on that armor piece. What is that beautiful smell? There's time yet before the sun grows low. Should I visit a stall or continue in my travels? We could arms and armor. I mean, we don't really need arms and armor. We obviously hold seafoam. We've got the high Valyrian mail from our father, so we don't really need arms and armor. A new scent for the season to the perfumer. But we are a kid. I feel like at our age, we're going to be more interested in arms and armor than like perfumes and alchemy, So we're going to go and we'll see what happens here when we visit this armor. At last I arrive at the workshop of a blacksmith whom all other blacksmiths speak of with reverence. Standing outside, I can see why as I watch her work. Her skin exudes warmth. Covered in sweat from the forge's heat, she gleams as if made from living bronze. Her work consumes her attention, though one of the apprentices attending to the bellows alerts her to my presence, prompting her to look up as she continues to hammer the metal in her hand. I need armor that is befitting of my station. Do you have anything? We don't need a weapon, or we could potentially get a suit of armor. Who knows? It might actually be better than what we have, and who knows what it might end up being. We're gonna pay the money. That's gonna put us a little bit in debt, but I think we can afford it. So we got Velaryon mail. Nah, it's not any better than what we had, but you know what? Maybe this armor is like made for somebody a little bit more our size, and it's having a second suit of armor is actually not that bad. The experienced craftsman points her outstretched hammer towards the racks displayed. There's time yet before the sun goes low. Should I visit a stall or continue on my travels? I don't think we have the money to spend, but let's go and see what the alchemist has anyways. Finally, I tracked down the fetid tenement purported to be the workshop of a Lysini alchemist. We were just curious. We heard this rumor, and now we're just going. Evitho has no choice but to come with us. The structure itself might be dilapidated, but the thick wooden floor must be well locked and bolted with all manner of mechanisms, as I can hear a sequence of them sliding and unlocking on the other side after my presence is announced. Once the process is complete, the door swings wide to reveal an old woman with wild, unkempt hair, wearing a soot-stained leather apron. She beckons me further in while rubbing her hands together with an excited giggle as I begin to look around at what she deigns to call a laboratory. I'm in need of some more specialized research. Do you have any beginner's text? You are a madman flogging merling scales and swan maiden feathers. That's kind of funny. Let's see. We don't really have the money to spend on this. But let's see what the perfumier has as well. We enter the charming little perfumier's shop, about to be greeted by a cloud of complex aromas all swirling together in midair, carrying a promise of what the proprietor has in store. A servant offers cheese and wine before ringing a sonorous bell. As the toll fades into silence, an elegant woman draped in silks and buried beneath a generous dusting of face powder descends from a marble staircase to formally greet me and begin the process of discerning which scent will match my desire. What is fashionable these days? We don't have the money for this. Was it my grandmother used to wear? My shit smells better than this monument to mediocrity. Wow, that's pretty rude. I think you know what? Let's get a trinket. The smell of ice and fire. The caked tart breaks composure at my request. Her distraught face contorts for only a moment before she recovers and leads me to a window display bearing small, colorful perfume bottles of a less complex design. There's time yet before the sun grows low. Should I visit us all? No, we're done. We've got our little trinket here, though. Hey, you know what? We'll smell good. There we go. So that was our time in the markets of Lys. That was an interesting little stay. Now for the dangerous part of our journeys, sailing past the Sept zones. Hopefully we don't run into any pirates. But it seems like Evatho has gotten us through safe. Thankfully, anyways. And now we shall continue our journey heading up here to Pentos and having a little visit here with, there just in a moment here. You know, a visit with Tyrion Lannister, meeting a man our father probably talked about, quite extensively, I'm sure. You know, meeting his daughters. Here's an interesting thought. Alette Lannister might I don't think our mother would go for this. But, there's another potential marriage prospect. Don't think it makes a lot of sense, but I'm just throwing it out there. Here we go. Yeah, so we're visiting Pentos. I wonder if we'll get any interesting events here. We're gaining some experience and things like that as we do go on this journey, making our way around, visiting the city. We've probably spent, a couple weeks here already. Well, life and duties of a squire. We're set to name the various houses on these coat of arms. A field of black nightingales on yellow, a striding huntsman in red on a green field, and a red fox's head in a circle of blue. I like that our knight, Russell, is asking us the name of Reachman houses, because obviously he's testing us on our knowledge of the Reach. Do you guys know these houses? Obviously, it's Karen, Tarly, and House Florent. We answer correctly. There we go. Gaining some Squire experience, and then we head off once again, leaving Pentos and on our way back to Driftmark here and back home, where we haven't seen in a long time. At long last, I'm finally home. There's nothing better than arriving back in Driftmark after a long journey. I look forward to resting for some time, but the call of the road beckons ever onward. My caravan master Larissa reports that we have journeyed for essentially a year. I'll never forget when I visited the great city of Lys in my travels. Thank the seven who are one, I can go inside again. So there we go. Lord Corlys Seaspray, a young, daring young man, a knight in training, potentially a great swordsman, certainly a great sailor who has now gone on his first great voyage that most members, most of the important members of House Velaryon have gone on. Well, he is beginning to show himself already as a great adventurer. But the question is, what does life have in store for our young lord? Well, I ask you, Wanderers, what do you think? Let me know down in the comments below. If you want to catch more episodes, subscribe to the channel because there will be more coming, that is for sure, and I wouldn't want you to miss it. So also hit that notification button if you want to catch the episodes as soon as they come out. If you are waiting for the next episodes, I would highly recommend checking out some of our other series on the channel, such as our Son of Ares series, which if you're looking for a lot of content, we've got over 50 episodes, and that was one of our most epic stories we've ever told on this. You will be certainly entertained by that. But until the next episode, Wanderers, thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one.